carjacking. I hope you're ready for action. And Theft Auto just got carjacked by the model.
I guess we should start off by introducing you. And you are...
Leya motherfucking Falcon.
Is that your God-given name? Leya motherfucking Falcon? That's your middle name?
Damn right. You're goddamn right.
Wow. Why motherfucking? What's so motherfucking about you?
Well, because Eazy motherfucking E. So why am I not Leya motherfucking Falcon?
That makes complete sense because he's the only rapper or any celebrity when he passed away. He's the only celebrity I ever cried over. He's my favorite rapper ever. And
Same.
yeah, I know. We did like a really cool photo shoot with you. With you had Eazy E sneakers. We had like a oldie 40 bottle, all kinds of stuff.
That was a lot of fun.
Right?
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a hard one because we were like shooting in this tiny little hotel room, and we had to like move all the furniture out to put in. I think like I taped something to the wall, like a curtain or something to like just extend the background out, and set up a couple of lights behind you. Man, that was a process, but it looked really cool. It was a lot of fun. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like,
I
was nervous doing it too. Well, I mean, number one, I love Eazy E, but I was like, okay, he's such a legend. Like, I just wanted to get everything correct because I felt like it's myself as a white lady. I'm going to cosplay as Eazy E and pay tribute to him. Like, I need to do it correctly. So, as you know, you were there. Like, we had to do it. We got the OE, pouring it out. We had the weed. We had everything. And I think it turned out really well. And I actually showed the photos to little Eazy E. Mm-hmm. And he was like, these are really cool. So that made me feel a lot better about them.
See, that's really cool. I didn't even know that he saw the pictures. That's badass because, like, I'm a huge fan. So I have to be a huge fan of his just because I'm a huge fan of his dad's. And, well, that's fantastic. Maybe one day we could do a photo shoot with you and him together. That'd be really badass. Ooh.
That would be really cool. And I think you should follow me down for it. He's actually a really cool guy. Not disrespectful at all. Like, it's just, out of all the rappers and all that I've met, he's got to be the nicest, most respectful one. And I was very happy when I found that out because, some of these guys out here, they are so scummy. But, yeah, he's a really good guy. And I think a lot of that comes from his father.
I agree because, like, I've heard nothing but great things about the Eazy E. Actually, my friend years ago met him. My friend was getting a speaker system put into his Chevy Blazer back in the day, and God, man, I always wanted a Chevy Blazer, but my friend had one, and he was at this, I don't know, it was like one of those shops one of those fancy shops, and Eazy E was there. So he met him, and he said the dude was super cool. He didn't like big time him, just sat and shot the shit, and that was really cool. So it was like, because you get so many celebrities that just come off like they're curing cancer when they're just literally just like reading scripts and thinking they're big shots. So that's pretty badass. Out of all the rappers that died, like one of the legends has to die in such a horrible way.
Yeah, I agree. He had to have been set up.
And that's what it all sounds like.
There's no way that you get an HIV diagnosis and then get AIDS the very next week.
Yeah, I actually remember where I was when all that came out. I was driving from LA to Santa Barbara after a shoot when I was going to film school, and I think this was right around the time like West Side Connection album came out, and we were listening to it because we bought the tape, not CD, tape. But we were driving back from the shoot from LA to Santa Barbara, and we were listening to the radio at one point, and they said Eazy E has been hospitalized with HIV or maybe even AIDS, and he doesn't have long to live. And like, oh man, that was like a big like punch in the gut. I remember a lot of women when it started getting HIV tested instantly. I could only imagine how many women he was with, but
probably all of them. He had something about him. I mean, I never met him. Obviously, I was a little kid when this happened, but just from what I know of him, what I've seen of him, even though he was like short and he had big alpha male energy, big dick energy. I guess that's what.
Big dick energy. There you
go. So he probably got all the women.
So since you brought up big dick energy, you you always talk about BBC. I'll tell you a quick story before you go into your whole BBC thing, which is actually kind of funny. I was on a mainstream shoot, right? And I was talking to the makeup artist and my filmmaking partner, and we were making jokes about BBC. And this little boy that was on set, the actor, he turns to us and goes, BBC, I love that channel. And we're like, oh man, just don't go Googling BBC, young man. Do not go Googling BBC because you're not gonna get what you're expecting to see. Well, maybe you are, I guess, depending who you are. Yeah.
Oh my God! When I first found out that BBC was a channel,
yeah,
like I was flipping through the little TV guide thing, and I was like, I saw BBC. I was like, what is this? And I opened it up. And I was like, what? Like, it's just the news. British Broadcasting Company? Like, what a ripoff.
Right. Where them dicks at? What's going on?
Exactly. That's what I was expecting.
That's funny. You know, the first time we met, you came to my birthday party at the lounge in Studio City, page 71. Maybe it was called something else back then, but...
no, I think it was still page 71. I don't know. I was really drunk that night.
Yeah, you walked in and you were like a Tasmanian devil. Just walked in. I'm here. What's up? And it was like whoa. And I think that was like the time where I know I have some really cool pictures from that moment. In fact, like just so everybody knows who's listening to this, the video portion of this I'm going to cut with pictures and videos and throw it up on YouTube and on Leia's YouTube, and just so you guys could actually, if you're listening to this, you could see the visuals that go with this. You could see Leia's drunk ass at my...
You were really drunk too.
Yeah, I think oh, see, this is the problem with being quarantined, because we're all quarantined right now during the coronavirus. So when you're doing a podcast and I'm healing, see, like that. So now my parents' phone is ringing, and it sounds really weird. But I guess that's real life, right? So
I guess so. I mean, it is what it is. Why filter ourselves now?
Exactly. I almost want to like run over there, pick up the phone, and hang up, but I can't do that. Yeah. So like we're all quarantined. This is like the podcast of the quarantine people, and I'm still healing from my 9th leg surgery. So I'm sitting in my parents' second bedroom, healing. I threw up a green screen behind me, which I can't even see what it's shooting because my GoPro won't sync up with my phone. My GoPro has the coronavirus, or my phone has the coronavirus. I'm not sure. One of them is acting out. But back to the phone's not ringing anymore. Back to our BBCs, your BBCs, not my BBCs. So, you know, like I never shot you until you came on board and did your website, LeyaFalcon.com, with Puba. So, and you told me you shot like extreme scenes and you liked it rough. And I remember, I specifically remember that the first time we shot you, you were shooting with Mo Johnson. As we're shooting and he pulls his wiener out, his name is Mo the Monster Johnson. That's his full name. And as you start like going down on him, he goes, "Do you want Mo Johnson?" And that's literally when I got what his name meant. And I'm standing there giggling inside and like I'm shaking a little bit, trying to keep from giggling because I'm just like, oh, that's actually a creative name, motherfucker. That's really good. Steve, who's helping out, he walked off set because he can't control his giggling because he's such a little giggle girl. But that wasn't the. Do you want to like talk about that scene because like he like hurt your throat, right? Like I thought you were dying and you were like.
Well, I don't know if you remember exactly that day, but I told you, like, when I woke up, I believe I texted you, and I was like, look, I've got, like, some sort of bronchitis thing going on. I don't know if my voice is going to go on, but I'm not one to cancel on anything, especially not, like, a first time. Like, I'd just met you, and I was really excited to get my website going. And I didn't want to come off as flaky, so I still showed up. But after some throat fucking, I had no voice left at the end of the scene. I think it's half bronchitis, half me going hard. I puked on his dick, and then I licked it up off the floor.
Yeah.
It was cool. It would have been a better scene had his wiener worked properly. But
you know, I wonder if it also is like with some guys who are not into like rough scenes or like a girl puking everywhere. Maybe that's something. Plus, there's a lot of Johnson there. If you got fully erect, you'd pass out. I gotta imagine like all that blood rush down there. It would just be like done. Yeah, that was the crazy part was like when that one point where you started choking and he pulled out and you were like. And I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna die, and you're like, no, and you can't even tell us that you're fine. You're just like waving your hands, like, no, I'm good, because like I'm not giving her mouth to mouth. Who's gonna give her mouth to mouth? Right? What's gonna happen here? She's gonna die. Does anybody else know she's here? Can we bury her somewhere? What's gonna happen? You know, especially first scene, maybe nobody knows she's here. But that was insane because like I've shot a lot of like rough BJs, but I've never seen somebody. I'm like, oh my God, that's it. She's done. That's over. Okay, there goes her career. there goes her freedom for everybody else. But yeah, that was interesting. And then it was like literally like you were like stepping up your game, like with every scene. Like we did that one. We had that one giant toy, and it was just on set just for fun. And then I walk into the makeup room, one of the other shoots, and you're trying to like sit on it, and I'm like, whoa, don't do that without the camera rolling, because if you get that in there, that's like some serious viral shit right there. Because that was insane. That toy was way too big to go inside of a human. I think it was more like a weapon than an actual toy. But I think
like the size of my thigh.
Yeah, I think you got like the head in there. But that was that's all. That's about
as I got, but I did.
Yeah.
I did do that, and that was an accomplishment.
Oh my. That was like, and that's the funny thing is like you'll get people that will come to set when you're there and they're kind of shocked, because I think if you like, and you and I have talked about this, if you were in the industry 15 to 10 years ago, you would be a legend. You literally would be, because of your performances and how you're into it, and how rough your scenes are and how you're legit into this stuff. Most talent these days, they're really prissy because I think the difference now is people that are getting into adult care more about being a quote-unquote celebrity or an influencer or somebody special on social media, which means nothing to anybody except for that person. Before, people got into it because they enjoyed it and they made good money. Now it's literally about the fame. And so people are not necessarily in it for the right reasons. So like their scenes are kind of like, no, not in my mouth, no. You know, like, yeah, oh yeah, there's girls who are like, oh no, you can't come in my mouth, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess there goes the fantasy of shooting somebody. You know, like the whole point of porn is a fantasy, right? You want the prettiest, the dirtiest girl possible, without a condom. You know, that's why, like, condom porn, like who fantasizes about like a hot girl or even a neighbor, and they're like, oh my God, I can't wait to put my condom on and then, you know, go hook up with her. That's not a fantasy. That's bullshit.
I agree with that.
But you know, like the one funny story is like, because there's so many with you, but the one that's kind of like we're talking about, like people thinking it's disgusting, and it's the word you and I wound up using a whole bunch of times. I'll start it off, and then you could totally rant about it. I don't remember any of the girls' names, and I don't want to like mention names, especially the ones who like were like the cause of this. But we set up, well, no, not we. So the performers set up a 5-girl orgy in a hotel room. So I'm like, cool. Who gets to shoot like a 5-girl orgy for content, right? So girls start showing up, and the person who set it up didn't relay all the information to everybody, because I'm thinking 5-girl orgy, all the girls are going to be like putting strap-ons on and banging each other. It's just going to be like a free-for-all. It's going to be like a MMA fight, like a tag team MMA fight. It would be amazing, right? I thought it was going to be cool. And then all of a sudden, as all the girls are there, the girls are like, well, I don't want to share a toy. I don't want that toy going in her and then going in me. And I'm just like, what is happening here? You're all tested. What, seriously? And so now you're getting frustrated, and I could see it in your face, and you're always like one of those people that like don't speak your mind, but you're being really calm about it, which was surprising to me. So I'm like, fuck, Leia's actually keeping her cool. And then you said something like, why don't you everybody will just use their own toy on themselves, and that's it. So like, okay, this is going to be how we're going to do it, and the scenario is going to be everybody's wearing, they were all wearing like it was like bondage lingerie, and you were going to be the girl who delivers the food in the tray, and there's no food, and the girls get pissed off, or the food was like a wrong order, so they all kind of bang you together. And the funny thing was, like, you're allergic to latex. You can't have latex around you, right? 2 other girls are wearing latex outfits, and I'm like, can you girls just take these fucking outfits off? No. We'll take it off during the scene. We're like, what do you mean during the scene? We're going to have to cut for you to take it off? That's going to be weird. Just don't even have them on. Because this way, we could just go with it. You don't have to worry about being touched by it. And the girl's like, no, we'll just take it off. Okay, fine. So then what happens is, we're about to do pictures. So all the girls, well, the 4 girls are lined up behind Leia. Leia's laying across the bed with the toy, and she starts gagging on the toy to create spit. I turned away to like set up the camera, and all I hear is one of the girls go, "That's disgusting." And I turn around, and I'm just like, oh, what just happened? And you turn around and you go, what? And if you want to talk about this, this is really good, because this was so insane to me about like that whole, like what was going through your head when like you hear someone behind you go, "That's disgusting," when you're doing that?
Well, first thing, yes, as everyone knows, I'm very outspoken. I don't really hold back for much. But I did, thankfully, that day, because I don't always drink on set, but sometimes I do. Thankfully, that day, I did have my water bottle with a shot of Tito's in it. So once I got there and everyone started like bitching about everything, I was just like, oh God, I'm gonna have to drink this Tito's. So I drank that Tito's. So that's what kept me calm while they were going off whatever, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then the second I hear this girl go, "That's disgusting," I was just like, okay, wait a minute. This lady is in the porn industry, where there's all sorts of fluids exchanged. The least disgusting of the fluid is probably the spit. How the hell are you in this industry and you can't deal with spit? Even looking at it. And nobody was telling her to fucking eat it. I wasn't taking my spit and trying to feed it to her. So I was just like, you know what? This is the only time this ever happened. I got up, and very calmly, I was like, you know what? You guys have fun. Like, I'm not shooting this. And I walked out, and I told you I'd be right back, and you shot the world's most boring scene ever, probably. I it was pretty boring. And the one thing was that was interesting. This girl
once she said that's disgusting, and you turn around and you go, what did you say? And she goes, no, 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 now you're disgusting. What you're doing is disgusting. And she goes, I just find spit gross. And the girl that actually set up this orgy says the same thing. Yeah, I think spit's gross. And this chick, and you're like, then I'm just gonna step out of the scene. And that the first girl goes, no, 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 no. We'll do the scene. It's just like when you do that with your spit, I just won't look at you. I almost lost my shit when she said that. How fucking disrespectful and rude. But you see, this is the problem, Leia. For talent, and this is a Vegas content, quote unquote, content shooter. The problem with content shooters is that they have no social skills to be on sets. Because they shoot all their shit in their little 10 by 10 room, and they call themselves, quote unquote, porn stars. So now they think they're porn stars because like 10 dudes holding their dick in their basement comments on their thing and says like, you are the most amazing performer in the world. So now they think they're stars. It's bullshit. Go to a real set with a crew, with a director, with a producer, with other talent, and then call yourself a porn star. You shooting content on your bed or your couch in front of a window, or in like in your tiny little basement or in your bedroom, you're a content provider, and that's all you are. So when they get in a position or situation like this on set, then all of a sudden they freak out because they lost that control of like it's just being them and their boyfriend, or just them and their vibrator, or whatever it may be. So it's one of those things where when you start mixing real performers, real porn stars, with the fake ones, is that when the problem happens. And that's what it was. For her to say something like, I just won't look at you, she probably didn't realize what kind of asshole she came off as. And then when you walked away, I went with you to talk to you, and you're like, I'll be right back. And I'm like, I appreciate it. Like, thank you. And this chick that set the whole thing up is coming out. She's like, no, 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 no. It's going to be fine. And I had to step in. I'm like, I go, no, she was disrespectful. That's not what you say on set to anybody. It's not like you were like sticking your fist up your ass and eating it, which is still not disgusting because it's part of set sometimes. But you were just deep throwing a toy, which every performer does to get spit. I don't understand. Obviously not someone like her. And for the other chick to say, yeah, I think spit's disgusting. How are you in the actual quote unquote porn industry if you're disgusted by spit? Then I know that if you're doing a boy-girl scene, I can only imagine how terrible that scene would be, like, kick that away from my face. So like, yeah, that to me was like funny because you get people that act like that, but it's gross that they can like step back and not even look at the bigger picture and how they're talking about others to their face and be so clueless. But again, that's my biggest issue with like people that are content providers who are not professional about it. Just because you're willing to take your clothes off and fuck in your basement or your bedroom on your cell phone does not make you a porn star. It makes you somebody who's willing to fuck on camera. Until you actually, and that's the part that's like so frustrating when you get all these people posting like, I'm a producer, I'm a director, I'm a CEO. What are you fucking CEO of? Here's the thing. Before Pringles, my cat died a couple of days ago, I was going to create Pringles Inc., where I was going to have Pringles direct scenes, and you and I have talked about this like for a couple of years now. And the whole point was going to be Pringles was going to just like put his paw on different positions, and those positions girls are going to do. Oh, now he's also a CEO of a company because he's got PringlesFilmmaker.com or whatever it would be, That does not make you a businessman unless you act like a businessman. It doesn't make you a businesswoman unless you act like a businesswoman. And some of these people just get a domain because domains are $10. And they create a, whatever, OnlyFans or ManyVids store, and all of a sudden they think they're like legends in the industry. No, fuck that. There are people that are content providers that are amazing, and there are some people like that. and I think that girl also bitched about how long she was on set because she was paying for a babysitter. I've never heard any quote-unquote porn star or anybody who's on set complaining for being on set for more than 4 hours because she's losing money on babysitter money. Seriously, you probably should go work somewhere else. Find another job. But that's the whole thing is content.
I don't remember anyone talking about that, but
yeah.
It's weird because there are like a couple of those girls have actually been on real set.
Yeah, the only one, the only one that was really like gung ho was Michaela. I'm not gonna give her her last stage name, but she's been around since I've been around, and she was down, and and she actually made a joke about some sort of a joke where she was kind of like dumbfounded how these girls are. But the funny thing is, the reason we decided to even go with like that storyline was because we were gonna order some food and do like a whole food thing with all five of you, and two or three of the girls were like, "Ugh, food and porn is disgusting," and we're like, "Oh my god, why are you in this? If you're in it to shoot enough scenes to go build up your name to be a hooker, 100% good for you. You're a businesswoman. But then something, don't show up and do scenes where we're trying to be creative, because like if you're not willing, you don't want to share a toy, you don't want to do stuff with food, you don't want to do stuff with spit. I get it, but something, when a John comes in and you could dictate to them, you can't dictate to everybody on set. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. And I get it, it's everybody's content, but honestly, I blame the person who put it all together, because she didn't relay any of that information to anybody. She just said, we're all showing up and we're shooting. So everybody shows up thinking that they're going to dictate how the scene's going to go, and no one's on the same page. And that's not fair for anybody. And then to put you in the situation where somebody says that, and put me in the situation where I'm like, okay, how are we going to, do this? When you left, I just said, like, why don't you all just start? And then literally, it was so boring. 12 minutes into it, I said, okay, you can come, and we're done. It was boring. It was really boring. And that's the thing, is that because there's no chemistry, one, nobody wants to be there. Two of the girls are worried that their babysitter is going to cost them another $7 or whatever the fuck is it going to cost them. So they're like in a hurry to leave. So I'm like, oh, fuck it, we're done. We got 4 girls, and then you came back and you got a screwdriver stuck in you because if you forget to say we did, you were like a handy woman or some shit. You came to fix the bed, the squeaky bed or something.
Oh, no, that was the other time.
Oh, that was another time. That's right.
Same place, another time, but after that whole thing, I remember we did a solo where I was like, I am so disgusting.
Yes, that's right. Because that's right. And I had a bag of organic gummy worms, and you stuck all of them inside your butthole. The thing with that. And I was like, sometimes you just kind of lose your train of thought, because like you're putting them all inside you, right? Like, and you were using, I think you're just using your fingers. And I'm like, Leia, how are you going to get them out? And you're like, I'm just going to shit them out in the glass and eat them. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Because like when you say the word shit, you're just pushing out. You're not really, there's no shit coming out. Your butt's clean. It's just gummy worms coming out into the glass, and then you're eating them. And it's like, oh my god! It was like a kaleidoscope of I don't know, of gummy worms coming out, because like they all kind of melted in your butt, and there was like all these colors coming out of your butt, like a rainbow. You were like pooping rainbow.
God dang it! I think the day was that day when that girl came up from LA. She was like, "Okay, we're gonna do girl." And she's like, I'm so excited to work with you and everything. And then she shows up, and I'm sitting there like how I always like, I'm very considerate of people, and I believe in consent, and I want everyone to be happy and have fun. So especially the girls, because girls, like, I don't know, I just feel more protective of them.
Right.
So I'm sitting there going over, okay, so what do you really like? What do you don't like? Like, what are you okay with? What do you want to do? Like, what are your absolute no's? And she was like, well, I don't want to eat pussy. And I was like, okay, I'll just eat yours. And she's like, no, I don't really like that. And I was like, so what do we do now? I'm like, do you want to just, like, make out and finger each other or something? She's like, no, I don't want to let things in there. And I was like, wait a minute. So that's when I was like, you know what? Okay, I think it's probably best you don't shoot. Yeah. And then that's when you taught her doing a solo that took like 2 hours, because she was being all prissy about it. And that's when I did the gummy worms, just because they were sitting there and they looked like fun. And they were.
Oh my God, I remember. Oh God, I remember the story. Yeah, she tells us on set because you asked her, you're like, "Are you into girls?" And she goes, "No, not really." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, we were planning this for like 2 weeks. You could have told me you're not into girls. You drove up." Yeah, but she was a whole different ball game because like she was like in La La Land. She remember like she would just sit there and stare at the wall. She was out of it. She was completely out of it. I don't know what she was on. But it wasn't the first time she was on set like that, where it's like, okay, it's not just like being dumb. There's something else there. God, yeah, you're not. As you were telling the story, I'm like, oh my God, that's right. Now I remember it. Like I had to like picture the scene and then who the girl was, and now it clicked in. Yeah. I've shot her doing a scene with a really good male performer, and afterwards he goes to me, I don't even want the content.
Wow.
Because he had to like move around so much, and she was just like kind of laying there like dead weight, and you're like, oh my goodness.
That's what I feel like most girls in the industry these days are. Like, even from when I first started, I mean, obviously, the early 2000s, as you've told me, I wasn't there. I was a child. They were like basically that's like the heyday, the good old days.
Yeah.
Everyone was having fun, doing crazy stuff, being creative, and then then I come in, and like some of the crazy stuff that I want to do is still being done, but there's a lot of limit. But as the years went on, it's like more and more limit, and the people that I ended up performing with are of, I don't want to say of less quality, because that kind of sounds like it devalues them as a human being, but they're definitely not as adventurous or creative or even caring about the scenes that they put out there. Like, they literally just were like, oh, okay, I need an update. Let me just do this. Like, they care more about quantity than quality.
You said it perfectly, and that's been my problem for the longest time as a director, is that so many girls just care about quantity, not quality. You're one of the few that I've worked with that gives a shit every single time. And this is why I wind up using you for all the cool movies that we've done, because you're like in it for 100%, because at the end of the day, everybody can shoot 100 scenes, but if they're not memorable, who gives a shit? Somebody could shoot 10 scenes and they're memorable. Somebody's going to remember you. You might get a really cool fan base, because if you're just like doing production line porn and you're just a girl that looks like 10 other girls, what's going to keep that person coming back to watch your stuff? You got to kind of like separate yourself. And most girls don't care about their brand. They really don't. And this, like you were saying, like it's that quantity thing. And this is what happens with content shooters who have their own stores. They're just pounding out content, and that's it. And I've seen some content that's amazing that girls that have done. They do the whole cosplay. They do little cool storylines. They have personalities. But then you get others who you're just like you're saying, like, I just need an update. Can I come in and shoot a solo? But eventually people are going to be like, I'm bored of that. It's the same shit over and over again. And I think that's what the great thing with Puba, and that's where we got so many big names, was that we were shooting cool shit. We were putting together movies that were getting nominations and wins, and it was all content. It's like, and I think next time you and I really need to sit down and talk about like Carjackers and Viking Girls Gone Horny, because the fact that like we won for most outrageous scene and then got nominated for the next movie with the most outrageous scene was insane.
Right? And then we got a bunch of nominations for the Whorley Quinn movie that we did, too. That's
right. Your Whorley Quinn movie got a few nominations. There's so much stuff. Even like when Skin Diamond, she directed her first movie. It was for her website. And her movie got 2 nominations as well. So it's like, if you put the effort in it, you will get rewarded, if not with awards, with recognition, which is what, as an artist, as a creative person, sometimes you need. Like you do it for yourself, but then when you can get recognition from fans or reviewers or whoever else, or especially your peers, it means a lot. If you're just that person that's just shooting, crap all the time, then nobody gives a shit. And I think that's why so many people come and go. It's because they don't really take it seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, it might be your fake name, but it's your brand, so you kind of have to like give a shit about it a little bit. That's why like I put so much effort into everything I do, because to me it's like I built this brand and I'm working hard at it. Why I'm gonna half-ass it? Even if I shoot somebody I don't like, and I've shot plenty of people I didn't like, I give it 100%, because that's what you do want. It's the respect for the people that are in front of the camera, but it's also respect for myself that I'm not going to half-ass a scene. And for all the talent that half-asses it, because you'll get so much talent that will shoot content and they just will half-ass it because it's just content. It's not money. Well, it is. In the long run, it is money. You'll actually make more money in the long run with the residuals on your content than you would if you shoot for a company. You get one check and you move on. But people don't get it.
Absolutely.
And this is
Absolutely.
right.
Yes.
And this is what we call hooker mentality. They want that money now, and they don't give a fuck about tomorrow. And then what happens is, when that hooker money's gone, then what? You haven't built a brand. You haven't created something that you could live off. Some of the bigger name girls in the industry haven't shot in years, but they live off their brand. Awesome, because they understood how it works. Or even if like you built a brand enough to like have a loyal fan base, because you need a good loyal fan base. Not even a lot of people, a handful. They can like help you pay your bills, rather than having like a million followers on Twitter because you show your pussy, but you haven't built a brand, so you're not making money off of it. Who cares? So you have a million followers on Twitter, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, which is pretty much most of the porn industry. Even though they'll post how they're balling, on social media, which is not fact in some cases. The girls who are actually balling are not the ones that are posting pictures of them laying in the bed of $20 bills. That's just the reality of it. The ballers and business women, you never see like just flaunting, what they're going to spend tomorrow and not have the following week. But okay, enough of that, of our ranting about stupid people. Let's talk about BBC, not the channel, but why you like BBC, the other white meat, or dark meat, I guess.
I guess because when I found out I wasn't a full-on lesbian, when I was a younger age, I almost said the age, but it might go again. I saw Ludacris on TV, and I was like, oh, I like dudes too. And I was like, huh, all right. Then it just kind of cycled out of control from there, and I was just like, you know what, I just love black men.
So it's not necessarily BBC. You love black men, and probably on average, black men just have big penises. So I guess that's where the love for BBC came from. Because I guess, I mean, like, I've shot some black dudes with, SBCs, small black cocks. So, but
I mean, like, of course, I love them big, but I mean, on a personal level, as you know,
yes,
I have dated someone with a very, very, very large wiener.
Yeah.
And it's not as fun when it becomes a personal thing, because then it's kind of like, okay, you're stuck sitting there like you're in pain, literally, from taking so much, like as often as you want. And like even sometimes you'll get tears or bleeding. I remember sitting there with ice packs, but I was still like, you know what? No, I'm still gonna make sure my man is pleased. And it was not. It's not all. It's not all fun and games when it becomes personal. Like if it's on camera every now and then that's one thing.
Right.
But when it has to, like, something that big all the time, it was crazy. Like, that's what I try to tell my guy now
Mm-hmm.
because he is insecure about the size of his dick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I tell him all the time, look, okay, I know this is my brand, BBC, everything. However, when it comes to personal life, I like your size better than a gigantic thing. Because a gigantic thing is, no, it's not all fun and games anymore when it gets personal. Like, I would rather take obviously larger than normal size, but not a giant monster. Like, it really gets to be really draining on the body and on the mind, too, because then you're like, if I don't make sure he's pleased, is he going to go out and cheat on me, all this and that? And, I mean, he did anyways. But, yeah, it's got to be a struggle for the guys out there, too, with those gigantic fucking dicks. Like, sure, they can get chicks, but are they going to find one that they can be intimate with as often as they would like to? If that made any sense.
No, that is a good point. And if you think about it, like, they probably can't even use the fleshlight because they're too big. Yeah, they probably have to get like special fleshlights built for them to use to satisfy themselves. But you know, like exactly. You know, I think the analogy would be like, you know, you love cake and it's like a nice dessert, but you can't eat it every day because you're gonna get diabetes. So like if you have big dick every day, you have like diabetes of the vagina. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Exactly. I got diabetes of the vagina by dating a man with a monstrous cock.
He had a monstrous cock. That's I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We shot a handful of scenes, and yes.
That one was like 2 hours long.
Oh my gosh, we shot a scene that was 86 minutes one time, and this is when we were still shooting on tape, and we're like at 55 minutes, and tapes are usually an hour long. So I stop and I go, hey, do you want to just do the pop shot? And he's like, no, switch tapes and keep going. I'm like, what? Oh, okay. And then and it was like the last 30 minutes was all anal with you, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And this dude kept telling me like, oh, you know, I want to make sure I'm going to help Leia with her career. And I'm thinking, no, you're destroying her career because you're destroying her body. How do you like not get that? Like, what a selfish move that he just, because you told me you guys in your personal life, that's all you guys would do. And I'm just like, he knows what he has. He knows how he hurts the girls with a donkey dick. And he wants to help your career, but then he hurts you at home, so you're limited to what you can do on camera. That makes us know you're sabotaging her career. Whether you're doing it on purpose or you don't get it because you're too like, caught up in the moment, I don't know, but he wasn't helping you. And when he said that, I was like, man, whatever, man. Like, you want to help her, then don't do anything with her. Just shoot with her on camera, you know? Like, shoot every time you guys do something, do it on camera. So at least then, if you are, like, having wear and tear on your body, you have content to, like, sell with, you know? I mean, that would be my opinion on it. But yeah, that scene was so long. I was like tired. I'm like, man, my arm hurts from holding the camera. I can't even imagine her butthole. Jeez, we were all like worn out. and you know the crazy thing is,
like, you know how I am. Like, it's like if I'm really in love with someone, I go hard and do my best to please them.
Yeah.
And because it was a real relationship I was in. And we were shooting, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do.
Right.
But yeah, it was definitely diabetes, I guess, of the vagina and the asshole.
Yeah, because you had a lot of chocolate cake in your vagina, so you got diabetes of the vagina.
Yeah,
Now, the one thing, like we were talking about brands, you're also known as Whorley Quinn. And,
yes.
And why? Why are you known as Whorley Quinn?
Because I have a very, very, very unhealthy obsession with being dressed as Harley Quinn with everything Harley Quinn. I have to have all the toys, all the clothes, all the accessories, all the comics, all that crap. Like, I have to have it all. It is so disgusting. Like, I believe I am an addict.
Yeah, well,
Harley Quinn addict.
no, you are.
Like,
You are. I'm a sneaker addict. It's totally cool. It's totally cool.
Like, it's crazy because it's not even like you know, like back when it first started, like with the Whorley Quinn stuff, I didn't know about her until my just terrible ex at the time told me that, he was like, there's this new movie coming out and you look like the character. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And he showed me a picture and he was like, this is Harley Quinn. And I was like, okay. So then I went to look her up on the internet and I was like, oh my God, I feel like DC Comics took my personality and put it into this character. Or, like, I feel like we have the same thought processes and everything, like how she is crazy. She ends up she's very dedicated to her unhealthy relationship. And that's just something, like, I've always been like that. My entire life, I was just like, wow, how come nobody introduced me to this character earlier in life? Because I fucking love her. Like, I can actually relate to someone. I mean, before, like, yes, I love Star Wars too, but I can't relate to Darth Vader.
Right.
Like, I've never become a machine, but as far as Harley Quinn, I can relate to her on her mental instability, and just her undying love that she has, even when people treat